Welcome to Angus IT, the podcast all about anxiety, depression, and other cheerful topics. I'm in a month. It's been a month. It's been a year, hasn't it? In the past week, it feels like. No episode was released last week because it was the election week in the United States. It was a hot mess. It was stressful. So many colors, blues, reds, purples. That was exciting and fun. And I don't know if anybody else has felt that, but when the election was called and it was not the orange bumpkin, I suddenly felt like so much stress lifted. And that's not to say that everything is like a cakewalk. There's still a lot of shit that needs to be done, right? But more of the stress that we were going to have Trump as president for like the next few years. I don't know. It was just very stressful. When that happened, I suddenly felt like a weight had been lifted, and I've been really productive ever since. Like, I think I put my life on hold last week. And it's been slowly building because U.S. elections get pretty aggressive, and they usually get to campaign for 2 years, it feels like. But with COVID and everything, a lot of that was put on the back burner more. But I did start getting texts from everybody. Hi, I'm Jill, and I'm working for the X campaign. Just like 3 of those texts every single day from different people. So I'm also glad that's over because I can hardly reply to my friends, let alone strangers. But I've done things like I just set up 4 different doctor's appointments I've been putting off. And I scheduled a haircut. I don't know. It's like I'm getting my life together in a sense, which is really nice. I still feel overwhelmed by life, I guess, in general. But I'm hanging in there, and talking to friends is really good. And my anxiety's been up. A lot of the old things I've kind of gotten used to in terms of getting over anxiety obstacles are starting to creep back. Like, I got really overwhelmed going to the store the other day. It was a quick in and out thing, but I just was like, I need to not be here. And even just like socializing with some of my friends, like the mini safe friend groups, they've become overwhelming. And it's just like, for me, it feels like asking so much for me to figure out how to just talk to people. I have been very stressed about it, and I'm trying to not say no in that case because I don't want to make it worse by never addressing the issue of hanging out with people, because that will not go away. And these are small groups because of a pandemic. So I'm trying to find that balance again of, do I make myself go, or should I calm down and let myself have a breather and not go? I tend to be a big pusher for myself, so I tend to go, but there are some cases where you should tap out gracefully and say, thank you, I have done what I can. I need to sit and be under 10 different blankets and have the lights out with a single candle glowing in the night. I throw the sickest parties, as you can tell. My life project, the secret life project I've been talking about, it's actually gone really well so far, and I think that's making me feel better, but it also means I'm taking action, which is scary. And there's just a lot that's up in the air right now, which is scary. And the holidays are coming up, and I'm trying to do this Christmas special. I have been so overwhelmed by that. I've had calls with 5 different people to talk about it. And I have a deadline because if it's a Christmas special, it needs to come out at least before December 25th. And I don't want to have spent so much time on it to not be able to have it ready for Christmas. Like, what would be the point? So that's like a fun little thing going on. But I have my idea. I just need to write it, which I've been working on, and I just stopped self-doubting. I have doubted myself every time I open the Word doc, and I'm like, why am I doing this? What's the point? Which makes you think that I don't want to do it. And let me clarify, I want to do this so badly because it's so fun to me, but I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself, and so I'm not really, it's hard to explain. Like, this is not one of those things where it would be better for me to be like, you know what, I won't do it this year. That'll make me feel worse because it feels like anxiety wins once again. So this is something I want to do. I just have to figure out the logistics and the story. But I just need to crank it out, have the draft. And I'm counting all writing towards the Christmas special as part of NaNoWriMo because it has been brought to my attention that that's a lot to ask of myself if I'm already struggling on one creative project to then set aside extra time to work on something else when the whole point of Nano is to be creating, right? So I'm like a purist, but I think there's nothing wrong with me counting that word count towards Nano because it's still me creating, and that's the whole point. Like, I never have a completed plotline book by the end of Nano anyway, so like, fuck it. So I'm still like, I have my cheese detective mystery novel going on in the background, but now it's infiltrated by weird Christmas characters. So yeah, there's that. And I'm also just trying to take a chill pill on this podcast. As you can see, there's no cohesive theme today. We're just chatting. Usually I would have done a goals episode at the beginning of the month, but honestly, I've been going back and forth. Do you guys like the goals episode? I get a lot of people who say they like it, but at the same time, I don't know if it's like becoming the same old, same old. I'm just like in a midlife crisis. I want to change everything, cut my hair, get a velour jumpsuit. Well, I already have one. Get a second one, buy a sports car. Actually, I really don't want one. Maybe a Toyota Corolla, though. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been staring at everything and being like, why do I do this? And do I need to keep doing this? And I've been doing that since August, and I just seem to keep pulling back layers. And it gets stressful, but it's nice at the same time because I'm just rewiring how everything works. I've officially been seeing my psychiatrist for a whole year, which was weird to think about. And I've been on my new medication for a whole year, and it's just weird to think about how much my life has changed just from that simple change. It was really easy there, guys. No problems whatsoever. It was good. And oh God, sorry, I just saw that I actually had like a to-do list for the Christmas special I made back in like September, and I was planning to have all audio recordings completed next Monday, which is hilarious because I'm on page 1 of the script. It's okay. It's okay. I'm the one who's done this to myself. It's fine. Anyway, yeah, the theme of this episode, actually, just kidding, it's me talking out loud as though I was talking to my therapist and just complaining about things mostly that I've done to myself. I've gotten back into baking, and I'm trying to bake with intention. I usually don't set myself up for success when I go to bake something. I'm not like a natural good baker. I haven't done it enough, I guess, to really learn. But I'm not good at following the instructions. I try and I always miss something. Add to that I never have all of the ingredients. I usually don't have dairy milk on hand because simply because it expires quicker than I can use it. And so I usually just have almond or oat milk, not for any health reason, simply because I can't use it in time. Which to me cracks me up because you would think that would be like an intentional choice. No, it's because I'm lazy. So a lot of bakes require legit milk. Sometimes I don't have enough butter. I'm missing an egg, and I just roll with it. I keep going. And I decided, what if I tried to have all of the ingredients and I just sat down and thought about it and didn't just do this knee-jerk panic baking moment. And so I decided I would try to make one of my favorite cookies, the Jaffa cake. And Jaffa cakes are, I guess they're European. I don't know if they originated elsewhere, but I mostly see them in Europe. And they're this cake-based cookie that has orange in it and a little chocolate coating, and they're delicious. And they have this like nice texture, a good little like chocolate crack, like, ooh, ooh, you know, the way that sounds is how it tastes. Great, Elaine, great descriptor. So when I set off to make these, I looked at many different recipes actually, and I compared them. And I decided I found one that was easier. It had less steps, but it also seemed to have enough ingredients to not be shitty. And so I did it and I made them, and they look atrocious. I learned a lot about how when you melt chocolate, first off, it's not just chocolate. You got to add shit to make it liquidy, like oil, which I figured out pretty quickly on. I felt very like pioneer woman when I discovered that. Like, I didn't have to stare at it and be like, why isn't this working? I was like, oh wait, I recall that you add something to this. And I not only did that, I didn't microwave melt my chocolate. I made a double broiler. I felt fancy as fuck. I then learned though, so the orange is an orange jelly, and I did go off recipe, which I also was going to try not to do because I think that I can be creative and I can't because I don't know what I'm doing. But you make an orange Jello. And I was like, what if I added marmalade into this Jello? So like it still has the consistency of the jelly, but like little orange strands. And that worked out really well. And then what you do is you have your thin little cookie, your thin cookie base, and I guess cake base, whatever. And then you cut out these tiny circles of the Jello and you place it on top of the cookie, and then you coat that with the chocolate. So I kind of did that. What I learned, though, is you have to let the liquid chocolate cool before you put it on the cookie, because otherwise it will slide off the Jello. Now, it did not look cute. So I did a second batch and it worked much better. But I've learned a lot, and I think my third batch could be perfect. But I also cannot have that many Jaffa cakes in my house, because even though they look ugly, they taste delicious. And my friend also sent me 4 boxes of frosted animal crackers. And that's just, there's a lot going on in my house right now. I cannot handle that much sugar all at once. My willpower is weak. So I'm going to try it again. And I was using milk chocolate, and I might try a dark chocolate. I don't know. It's like the world is my oyster. It's so fun. I like that I'm pretending to know what I'm talking about with baking. I don't. I have been told that I would be the perfect candidate for Nailed It, if you've ever seen that show. And I agree. Like, I'd like to think that on the show I could have it together, but I don't know. Fondant? What the fuck is fondant? Why do we fuck with fondant? It tastes like Play-Doh. Just have a goddamn normal cake with sprinkles on it. I'm kidding. It's fun. I thought I'd take a hot take. There's no reason, Elaine. Calm down. As I go throughout the workday, I keep thinking I look fine, and then I get on a Zoom meeting and I look at myself and I'm like, my God, what happened to you between 9 a.m. and now? Like, I thought I looked kind of professional, and then I just got on a Zoom call with a client and I looked at myself, and I'm wearing a dress, but I keep forgetting that the dress is an entity when you see me. It's like, oh, she's like looking nice. She put on a dress. But on the Zoom view, it looks like I'm wearing a giant t-shirt. And then something about my hair is wilting, and I don't know what that's about, but it's wilting. And so I look like I just did some kind of workout session in my giant 90s t-shirt, and I've decided to sit down for a business meeting in this getup. So I want to have a standby box of costume jewelry that I can just pop on when need be. I guess normal jewelry too. It doesn't have to be costume jewelry. A feather boa as well. But basically like these quick things where if I do look like trash, I can be like, oh, suddenly a necklace. She has it together. A ponytail, a wig. What if I had wig? What if I was Moira from Schitt's Creek, and in my background, all you saw was my wall of wigs, and I just wore a different one for each Zoom meeting? This is a really good idea. I'm going to work wig from home is what I'll call it. That's my new startup. Thank you. Anyway, it's just never fun to have the shocking realization that you look more trashy than you thought you did. And it's work from home. You know, I don't wear makeup as often, which is both fun, you know, and freeing, but it was something I like to do to feel, you know, fancy and like I'm ready to destroy the world and like I'm going to you know, punch somebody. If you've learned anything, I prepare my life around the need to punch someone and look badass when I do it. If I try to punch someone right now, I would hurt myself more than I would hurt them. It would not go well. So, you know, that's how that goes. Oh, what else? Okay, to be honest, I just burped and I lost track of thought. That's where I am in life now. So let's talk about masks. Wear them. Thank you. But more importantly, I've come to realize people have a lot more masks on hand. I have been rotating between the same 3 to 4, and they were the ones that my mom made me and sent me, and she sent me a couple more, but they don't fit my face. And I try to wash them frequently, obviously, but it just occurred to me that other people have like 10 masks on hand, and so they don't have to constantly be worried about washing them. The mask knee is real, y'all. And so I was just like, oh, this is something I can remedy. But I don't have any implements to create a mask. Like a lot of people are hand sewing them. And I think that's a really fun culture about the masks right now, is that a lot of people aren't necessarily buying them. They're sewing their own, and it's become its own little fashion spin-off thing. I found an article, and I'll link it below if I can find it again, but it went into how the fashion of masks is just another cultural shift as well. So anyway, I kind of feel lame if I bought some and I want to make them, but I don't have them. And I'm not going to lie, I'm too nervous to ask my friends who have the ability to make them to make me one. So in short, I have no masks and I am ashamed to ask for more masks or figure out how to get masks. This is a problem I have created for myself and I will just live with it. Amen. I have another gripe. Duvet covers? Fuck you. I am new to the duvet world. I have always thrived on a top sheet, a blanket, and then a comforter. But the idea of a duvet where you can switch out the coverings of that top comforter fluffy blanket thing that we decide we need. It's a cool thing. You can wash it out, especially if you have a dog that's disgusting and tries to take over the bed and literally kicks you out of bed. That happened the other night. That was fucked up. She's 47 pounds. I'm an adult. She kicked me out of my own fucking bed. So, I thought this was a great invention for me to have so I could wash it frequently and not have weird dog smells and, what have you. Taking a duvet cover off is worse than folding a fitted sheet. I said it. Why am I having to tie this fucker together with the intent that it can't be too tight because at some point I will have to untie the corners of this duvet cover. I then have to try to secure the floppy body of this duvet into its skin without it double folding on itself. And I don't want to crawl all the way into the duvet cover to tie up the corners that are away from the opening because I just have this fear that when I do that, someone's going to jump out of my closet and then choke me and suffocate me while I'm in there. Is that a normal feeling? Do other people have that? Anyway, going on with my other duvet complaints, by the time you do that, you're like, I never want to wash this thing again, thus making it useless for its purpose I bought it for. I also have only done this a handful of times. Maybe I should try it again, get used to it, get over it. Namaste. But I'm just pissed about it. But I think it'd be fun to have another duvet cover so I can switch it out like seasonally and out my moons, blah, 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 whatever. I can't continue to talk about this. My blood pressure is rising. Last thing I would love to talk about is me and a power drill in my hand. That's right. I borrowed a power drill from my friend Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. And I have a blind situation. So my glass door has those like 70s vertical blinds and you can turn them around and stuff. And they're okay, but it's easy to have them fall off. They fall off all the time, which means you have awkward gaps and then everyone can stare into your home at night and it's uncomfortable and I hate it. They're also not the most pleasing thing to look at, and I'd seen other people in my neighborhood remove those and put up their own curtains, and I always thought that's bold. And I've always been afraid to screw anything into my walls because it's an apartment, and, I don't want to have to pay a deposit or figure that out. But then I came to realize everybody screws things into their walls. Life goes on. Also, they gave me back my deposit because I paid my rent on time during a COVID thing, and that was something they offered. If you were able to do that, you got your deposit back. So if I have my deposit back, doesn't that kind of mean I can do whatever the fuck I want? I'm sure that's not how that goes, but that's how I took it. And I will have lived here for 3 years. I think I have earned the right to screw holes into my home. And so what I did is I removed the blinds. That was a task within itself. And I've never used a power drill, by the way. Or I have, but it was ages ago. And this was not, this wasn't a power drill I knew. It was like our first date. I didn't really know them. I had to get to know them. It was weird. I didn't know how to turn it on or off. I just knew how to remove the battery. So let me tell you, this became a 3-hour process of me figuring out the right drill bits I needed, screws, etc. My walls are also not perfect for screwing. I don't know what kind. Sorry, that was a funny phrase. There's something about the wall setup that is hard to drill a hole into it. So I would try to drill new holes for my curtain rod setup, and they didn't always work. And it got to a point where I made too big of a hole and I got really mad. And I was like, I did not spend 3 hours for this curtain rod to not go up and I would have nothing covering my glass door. We're not about that. But I figured it the fuck out. I'm really proud. It took way longer than it probably should have for any other human. But I now am the fancy bitch that has curtains instead of blinds in her apartment complex. Yes, you can keep applauding. Thank you. that's been a lovely update from me. I'm probably just going to keep doing episodes like this, I guess. So if you have any updates you want to hear from me, holler at me. I might do another Let's Drink Tea episode. That's like my very loose Q&A form. I've been gathering some of your answers. So if you have anything, feel free to DM me on Instagram, email me at angusit@gmail.com, Twitter. I'm on all those cool websites. What? I'm really tired. Sorry, guys. Those are my socials, Angus IT on everything. Next time, maybe I'll tell you the story about how Fern was walking around and she got a jingle bell stuck on her toe. That was a fun time. Until then, you can go to my website, www.angusit.com. It's not got as much love as I need to give it again, but it's still there and functioning. Very proud of it. Again, feel free to reach out to me. My DMs are always open and it's always fun talking to you guys, so have fun. Best of luck for anyone doing Nano. Keep doing it. If you fucked up this week and you didn't do much, you can keep going. I once skipped a whole week and still hit the goal, but fuck it, it's just a number, and it's all about pushing yourself just to get back in a writing groove and to be creatively open. I hope that you are okay with how the election went. I know I have stated my opinions and other people have other opinions, and then some people are just racist, and I kind of don't want anything to do with you. But I hope that, the election, now that it's over, I hope that you can take a breath and we can focus now on things other than just seeing which old white man will win, and that you are able to find a drive to really pour your soul into a cause or a charity or a movement, and that you just feel invigorated during this chaotic year. And with that, I will talk to you next Wednesday. Bye, heifers. I really hate it. Hold on. Bye, heifers. There, that was better, you dumb bitch.